My father started a bungalow colony, so he'd make some extra money. And my grandfather started a rooming house to make some extra money. So maybe that's how Catskills and the Shawangans got started. These people came and then they didn't have money, so they had summer people coming. And so my father there, in relation to my parents, he was building this colony. And so it was kind of, everybody had their own little kokh-aleyn, kind of thing. You cooked and only 2 rooms. It was very simple. We used to walk through the forest to go to the creek because who thought of swimming pools? That came much later. I mean, in the middle of everything, my father used to also work in the city, and then he'd come out and, he'd fix he was a mechanic. And my mother used to characterize herself. She had a dual kind of identity, and she has a poem about it, I Am a Cinderella. And she describes washing the toilets in the bungalow colony, which she used to do every spring. They had to prepare the facilities for the guests. And she had somebody to help her clean, but it wasn't sufficient. She had to do that also. And she worked very hard in that. She managed the bungalow colony. But I grew up kind of in a funny kind of situation. If I go to a bungalow, my mother would say, go to Licht's bungalow, go to Lesson's bungalow, go to Kahn's bungalow. And I realized later they were Schreiber. And they used to come out and be there. Some that I remember is Michal Licht, Leon Kubrin. Lesson's first name I don't know because he was always Lesson. They called people a lot by their last names, like my father was always Rappoport. Rappoport, or Archie, they'd call him that too. But Rappoport, okay, Rappoport, what do you think? In Yiddish they'd say that, was gedenkst. And so their bungalows were designated, and they still had their name long after they were gone, and they were still designated by their names. And even to this day, I'd say, I know exactly what Lesson's bungalow looks like. But the fact was that I, as a kid, kind of benefited from this communal nature of things. Probably that's what rescued me as a thinker, because both in New York or in the country, the adults would get together and have conversations. Nobody made you go to bed on time. I mean, you stayed up as long as you stayed up, because we get up anyway, so they let us stay up. You can't supervise people who sleep in bungalows, when the parents get together, they'll sneak out anyway.